This is Rockslapping Champions. Player 1, playing Mengsk. We have Probius. Probius appears to be lost as well. I thought Probius was a Phoenix character or something along those lines. But player 2, playing Abathur, we have Losic Wonder. Losic Wonder? Losic Wonder? Not really sure how to pronounce that. But let's have a look at the masteries while the players get set up. We have 30 points in the conscript support, 30 points in the royal guard cost reduction. We have a 25-5 split into the starting mandate and the guard experience mastery. Now personally I prefer to go for a full 30 points here. That allows you with the initial starting mandate, allows you to get your bunkers out a little bit earlier, especially on missions where you need a double bunker for the fast expand. I think Chain of Ascension is one of those missions. For Abathur, we have 10 points and 20 points into the Toxic Nest Mend Healing, 20 points and 10 into the Symbiote Double Biomass Mastery, and basically 15 into the Toxic Nest Charges and the Morph and Evolution Rate. So the only problems I can see here is this one. This was really important. Getting 30 points double biomass chance doesn't really serve any real value, especially if you're on top of your biomass pickup game. So you should be able to get your Brutalist out really early. And on this one, I think the Toxic Nest damage might be a little bit too low as well, like 10-20 split. I normally go for a full 30 points here, but I know some speedrunners do optimize this with a certain split, but I don't really have that much experience in terms of speed running. So Abathur is looking, and he's putting down some Toxic Nests here. We have a bunch of troopers that are starting to pick away at these gas rocks. And Abathur is again putting down some more Toxic Nests in this area. We have a bunch of laborers that are attacking these rocks for some reason. I think Mengsk forgot to convert these laborers to troopers, so they just ended up randomly attacking like this. But usually what I do is I just put down a bunker here and I just use the bunker to convert between the two modes, so I can use the troopers and then use the laborers when I need to build a command center. So we have a few Toxic Nests that are being put down around this track, so this is basically a preemptive drop to deal with the first attack wave. Now, you can actually farm biomass on this mission with Abathur. There's a small base in this area here that you can use to farm the biomass, but it is a little bit more difficult to do, especially when you're dealing with, I think, Terran compositions. It gets a little bit more tricky because they have bunkers and stuff, but putting down the Toxic Nest in this area is also fine. We can see that Mengsk has already gotten his Imperial Witness, pretty much one of the most important units for Mengsk, because that allows him to increase his mandate generation. So he already has his 2 Imperial Witnesses, so as soon as he gets his command center out, he'll be good to go. We can see now the first attack wave has spawned, and we'll try and see if there's a Locust that spawns. And if these Adepts attack that Locust, then we'll know what the initial attack composition is. And this is why manual detonation of the nest is important. So he's taken out four of these Toxic Nests for 4 of these Adepts, which is a really low rate of return. Usually you can get away with maybe 1, potentially 2 nests to clear out an entire attack wave, especially an attack wave that small, because there are only 4 Adepts. But so far, there is no expansion for Abathur, and Abathur has only... Okay, he's built a bunch of Roaches to try and deal with the first strain, but again, no expansion for Abathur, and he is getting this expansion. This expansion is a free rock expansion. There should be no reason why you don't get it in the early game, especially when you're dealing with a non-mutator game here. But we'll see what the plan is for Abathur. Abathur has a total of 8 Roaches, and Mengsk has a few troopers as well here that will be ready to try and deal with this train. And Mengsk has already captured his expansion, and he's also getting his gases. So his expansion is pretty much good to go. And you can see now the value of the manual detonation. Like, this one was okay, but you can get a lot more value to manually detonate your Toxic Nest. And now we can see the enemy composition indicator has appeared. We have the Disruptive Artillery, which is the old Robo Reaver composition as it was initially called, and that has a heavy anti-ground DPS. They have Immortals, they have Disruptors, they have Reavers, just a nasty composition. And you can probably tell what is going to be happening very soon. Abathur now has drawn his attention to his main rocks here, but unfortunately, he's not paying attention to the fact that there is an attack wave on the way. And unfortunately, there is nothing over here to stop these Adepts from completely wrecking these troopers. Abathur, on the other hand, wants to try and take his gas rocks right now, and there is nothing here. There's a ping, but nothing is going to be done to deal with these Adepts. So Manx has to use his call down now. That is a 100 mandate Manx call down to try and deal with it. Abathur has finally decided to turn back and try and deal with the adepts that have now been killed off. So now his troops are out of position to deal with this next attack wave that is coming up, which is again a bit of a problem. I'm going to switch over to Abathur's point of view so you can have a look and see how much and see all the biomass balls that are on the map, because the other thing I've noticed is that there is a total pickup of 231 biomass on the ground, but only 60 biomass has been picked up. And Abathur seems to be making an active decision to try and dodge all these biomass balls. Is he going to be moving through? Nope.
Our allies are in
It's like Abathur is just ignoring all these biomass balls that are just there. Oh, he picked up one. Picked up another. Is he going to ignore this one? Oh, he's picked that up as well. So he's at 150 biomass out of 350. Usually at this point, you should be having 3 Brulisks out when you have the 300 biomass on the ground. You should be making an active effort. Now, unfortunately, a lot of the biomass might actually be stuck behind enemy lines, so it might not really be very valuable for Abathur to go and pick it up. But sending just one Roach over here and just moving through with a shift Q on your rally points, you can actually get your biomass out. But you can see that Abathur has stacked his biomass on a number of different Roaches. So this Roach has 279 HP, 409, 145. So the biomass is actually, even though he has 150 biomass picked up, he's not actually stacked them on a single Roach, which means that he doesn't really have his Brutalisk out anytime early. And now there is going to be a... Okay, we have a bunch of Earth Players coming out for mechs, but this attack wave is filled with Immortals, and Immortals just completely munch on these Roaches because Immortals deal an insane amount of damage to armor. They deal something like 77 damage. The Roaches have about 150 HP, so they basically get 2-shot by these Immortals. And there's another bunch of Roaches that come in, but not before a large number of them get completely wrecked by these Immortals. Abathur has lost a total of 13 Roaches so far. These ones don't really count, those are free units for banks. So 13 Roaches down already for Abathur, and in terms of total biomass pickup, there's a total of 260 out of 470. This Roach is right here, just move it just a little. If he was bumped by one of these Roaches, he would get picked up. Ah. Okay, yeah, he is picking up some of the biomass now. Oh my god. So now there's another attack wave that is coming up. A good thing for Manx is he seems to be able to know how fast this attack wave is moving, so he's getting a lot of value for his Earth players. But now Abathur's queen decides to check stuff out and decides that has figured out that is a bad idea. A few more Roaches over here, and just see how these Roaches just get completely melted by the Immortals. The volleys that are coming down. Just so much value for Amon's Immortals. And Abathur has lost a total of 18 Roaches so far. We have now 3 Ravagers joining in, and just now at the 11-minute mark we have the expansion that will be completed. 11 minutes and 15 seconds. Here is Abathur's expansion. And again, Manx's Earth players are getting a lot of good value right now, and they're just picking off all these Immortals, which is somewhat good for Abathur because Abathur's army is not very well equipped for dealing with these Immortals. Now, strangely enough, the standard go-to build for Abathur is Mass Mutalisk, and that build would have been just perfectly okay for this kind of enemy composition because you don't have to deal with anything on the front line. You can see these Roaches just getting hammered by these Immortals right now. So all in all, we have now also a Zerg Goldan that comes in to help and provide some extra damage output to these for dealing with the train. And a total of 21 Roaches and 1 Queen have been cleared out by Amon so far. And I think, yeah, we have a few more hybrids here. And now this Zerg Goldan is just going to go and drop some more biomass. And if I was Abathur, I'd just be moving right behind this. Just wait for the Zerg Goldan to clear and just pick up all this extra value here. Manx already starting to deal more damage to the train. I'm going to pull up the auxiliary stats here, so you can have a look. You can see the kill count, and you can see the train damage for each of the individual commanders as well. And yeah, see this Zerg Goldan is dropping a lot of biomass. A total 960 biomass is available on the map, with only 419 picked up for Abathur. Abathur is not picking up any of this biomass, and now we have another attack wave that has come up, and Abathur will end up clearing out this train, this bonus train, and now there is going to be a bit of an issue. Please come out again. We have a retarget on the Earth players, and these Earth players will get a little bit value as well for these commanders. They will get a few more kills. Fortunately, these adepts are dodging a lot of these Earth players' shots, which is going to be a bit of a problem. Now, this attack wave is going to be moving in towards the players' expansions. We have now a Pride of August grant from Manx, and that is basically to provide the anti-air It's basically just to cover for the anti-air weakness that his Earth players have. The Earth players obviously cannot hit air units, but being able to have an Upright of August Grad to deal with this, with the random scouts here, does make it a little bit. It allows Mex to provide a little bit more security in his game, given that his Abathur ally seems to be completely out of position all the time. Now we have the double train wave that has spawned, and this double train wave is obviously defended by a very strong escort wave here. We have now a bunch of roaches as well. They have come up and completely cleared out. Nope, they haven't cleared out. That scout is still over there. We have a bunch of queens on this side. We have a nuke now that gets dropped from Mex, and that nuke should end up cleaning up this train. So this is one of the two trains done, and now Abathur is getting ready. But remember that this escort is absolutely massive. It'll be very high tier. You can see here Reavers, Disruptors, Scouts, and there's no split from Abathur, and that these Disruptors are just going to provide so much value. Now these Reavers are just going to end up cleaning up whatever's left. Makes his army, these Reavers dealing so much damage. There's like 6 Reavers over here. That is pretty much all of Mex's army dead. We have 4 Ravagers down, 4 Queens, 40 Roaches, but now that is not the end, because Abathur aggroed that army and killed Abathur's army over there. We have a problem, because this escort wave now has started to aggro Mex's Earth players, and they are going to start killing off a lot of these structures. We have a tactical jump from the Pride of August rank to try and draw aggro from those scouts so they don't end up dealing damage to these Earth players. You can see these Reavers are able to hit from the low ground because they are obviously projectile attacks. This train is going to be getting away, but I think Mex will be able to pick that off, but that is not the end of the story, because now there is an attack wave that is coming up over here, and Abathur, unfortunately, is having a few problems of his own, dealing with some of the attack waves over here. And now we have, you can see, Disruptors as well. It's going to be a huge problem. This train will end up getting picked off, but there are Disruptors, Reavers, and there'll probably be an Observer as well, so this Observer is providing high ground vision, ending up killing off a lot of these Earth players here. Mex is losing so much of his valuable artillery, which he needs. He ends up using a Zerg call down, and he ends up cleaning up that attack wave. Not any assistance from his allies so far, so he's getting a little bit more value, but Abathur is over here. I think, what are these Disruptors doing? Are they going to try and target? Yep, they end up targeting these Ravagers, and that's another 2 more Ravagers gone. And he's just basically moved out of it. He's like, whatever. Now Abathur is going to try and pick up some more. He's added a Viper to the mix, which is interesting. He added a Viper to the mix here, and he's just going to try and pick up some of the biomass here while his ally goes and does some stuff. So he has added 1 Brutalisk now, which is really good. And this Brutalisk is going to be chilling here. Is there a Dark Templar over there? Yeah, there is a Dark Templar over there that ended up picking up that Ravager as well. He doesn't have any detection, and if that Dark Templar is still there, it's going to be dealing a lot of damage to these units here. But we also have a Viper. I'm not really sure why that Viper is there. Vipers are decent, but given Abathur's lack of interest in picking up biomass, I don't know if he'd be able to utilize this Viper efficiently. The Viper is just basically chilling over there. I have no idea what that is, what that is about. Now this Brutal is taking a little bit of damage, but this train will end up going down. We have a total of 250 kills for Mex with 45k train damage so far. This train isn't getting cleared off. And now these hybrids are just gonna be... Okay, they're gonna... Nope. Abathur just doesn't want to deal with the hybrids. There's one Roach that gets left behind over there, unfortunately. The Viper taking a little bit of extra damage. What is Abathur? I have no idea what he's doing. So this Viper now is at full energy.
Our allies' base is threatened.
There's one Brutalisk. There's a random hybrid that spawned there. I have no idea what's going on right now. We have a bunch of scouts as well. They are going to start aggroing the Queen. Now they'll target the Bride of August Grad. So I think the Bride should be able to clean this up. Too many issues. I think all the ground units have been cleared out by the... They've been cleared out by the Earth players. Now we have the next set of double trainways that have spawned, and Abathur is moving somewhere. I have no idea. Okay, so he has a second Brutalist out now. Total biomass pickup is less than 50%. We have about 3,000 biomass on the ground, with only 1,400 being picked up. Look at all this biomass on the ground. They're just completely not being utilized. Earth players now are going to start targeting this first train. Double trainway spawns. So that ends up picking off the hybrid. And now this train will end up getting picked off as well. Abathur is getting ready to start dealing with the next train we spawn. But again, lots of Reavers, that are here, and they will start attacking this Brutalisk and start shelling away. This sentry is actually healing some of these Reavers as well. A good amount of units have been killed off by the Earthsplitters, so that keeps Abathur's army safe, much to the fortune of Abathur himself. So this train will end up going down, and now the Earthsplitters will be retargeted onto this train, and again, deal a good amount of damage and end up clearing out this train completely. And now we have a bonus train as well that is on the way, but there will be also another attack wave. Unfortunately, Abathur has lost a total of 53 Roaches and 7 Ravagers, and he'll end up cleaning up this hybrid. And there's still just one random Viper over here that I don't think has used any abilities so far. It's still at 200 energy, so I have no idea what is going on here. A total of 3,600 biomass has dropped, and yes, that train does end up going down. And now we have an attack wave that will end up pretty much getting completely cleaned up by Manx. See these Earthsplitters dealing so much damage, and one of the good things is just because there's Abathur, he has these locusts. It does prevent the attack wave from moving out of the range of these Earthsplitters, so it does provide a little bit more value for Manx. It makes his army. It makes it a little bit easier for him to end up targeting these units. Abathur's army, though, is just sitting on this side, and I don't understand what is going on at all. Random Zealot decides to try to attack this Brutalisk. 500 IQ Zealot right there, and now we have the attack wave that is spawning. And again, this attack wave will be moving right in the range of these Earthsplitters, and will just get completely wrecked. There's just so much damage output here from Manx's Earthsplitters. Will end up killing off pretty much everything before it reaches Abathur's army. Much, again, as I said, to the fortune of Abathur, because this would completely shred his army. His army is nowhere near large enough. We have a nuke call down here that provides a lot of damage output against this train. But again, as I said, this is going to be the last train, so it's not really much of an issue. Abathur just stacking up the damage, and Abathur's army is just chilling on this side, despite the fact that there is nothing here to deal any damage. So there are a bunch of hybrids as well that's coming up, but again, this is pretty much the end. A total of 94,000 damage dealt by Abathur, with 40,000 by Manx, and then 40,000 by Abathur. And Abathur has ended up losing a lot of his Roaches, but those are all the trains done, and that is GG.